Hi guys, this is O-Level Chemistry, paper 12, June 2015, question 21. The equation shows a redox reaction between iron 2 chloride and chlorine gas. Which equation describes the reduction process in this reaction? So let's see. In FeCl2, iron has a charge of +2. In FeCl3, iron has a charge of +3. So iron is being oxidized. In chlorine gas, chlorine has a charge of 0, and in FeCl3 chloride ion has a charge of -1. So chlorine is being reduced to chloride ion. So which equation describes the reduction process in this reaction? So the reduction process would be Cl2 forming two Cl minus ions, which means Cl2 will be gaining 2 moles of electrons. So option A shows 2 Cl minus producing Cl2 plus 2 electrons, the exact opposite of what we have just seen. So this is incorrect. Option B has Cl2 plus 2 electrons gives 2 Cl minus, which is correct. Option C and D are eliminated because they represent the equations pertaining to the iron ions and not to chlorine or chloride ions. Therefore, the correct option for this question is option B. Question 22. Which compound produces the greatest number of ions when 1 mole is dissolved in water? So, aluminum sulfate. The formula for aluminum sulfate is Al2SO4 thrice, because aluminum has a charge of +3 and sulfate has a charge of -2. So, in order to balance out the total charges, 2 moles of aluminum ions and 3 moles of sulfate ions would make a ionic salt. So this is aluminum sulfate. So in total, there are 5 ions present. So greatest number of ions in this case would be 5. In the case of ammonium carbonate, carbonate has a charge of -2, ammonium has a charge of +1. So that would make this salt NH4 twice CO3. So in total, there are 3 moles of ions present in this salt. Ammonium nitrate, NH4 positive, NO3 negative. 1 mole of each cation and anion, in total 2 moles of ions. And in calcium nitrate, we've got Ca, NO3 twice, 1 mole of cation, 2 moles of anions, in total 3 moles of ions present. So the greatest number of ions present is in aluminum sulfate, which is 5, making option A the correct option for this question. Question 23. The equation for the reaction taking place during the production of ammonia is shown. The reaction is carried out between 350 and 450 degrees Celsius and at around 200 atmospheres pressure using an iron catalyst. Which statement is not correct? At higher temperature, the amount of ammonia present at equilibrium would be less because an increase in temperature favors the endothermic side of the reaction. Since the forward reaction is exothermic, an increase in temperature would favor the backward reaction. So this statement is correct. Next, changing the pressure has no effect on the rate of reaction. Changing the pressure. If you change the pressure, you can increase the rate of forward reaction when you decrease the pressure, because a decrease in pressure, no, when you increase the pressure, and a decrease in pressure favors the side with the greater number of moles. So a decrease in pressure would favor the equilibrium in the backward direction because there are 4 moles of reactants and 2 moles of products, and an increase in pressure will favor the forward reaction because an increase in pressure favors the side with the lesser number of moles. The number of moles of products is 2 and the number of moles of reactants is 4. So an increase in pressure will shift the equilibrium forward. So changing the pressure has no effect on the rate of reaction. No, it does. It would increase the rate of the forward reaction. The catalyst is used to speed up the reaction. Yes, that is what a catalyst is used for. And when the reaction is at equilibrium, the forward reaction is taking place at the same rate as the backward reaction. Yes, an equilibrium is a state at which the rate of forward reaction is equal to the rate of backward reaction. So the only statement here that is incorrect is changing the pressure has no effect on the rate of reaction. It does. Therefore, the correct option for this question is option B. Question 24. Which element is sodium? So we are given melting points, electrical conduction, and density. So sodium is a metal. It will conduct electricity really well. So option C is eliminated because it says it is a poor conductor of electricity. Now we are left with options A, B, and D. In options A and B, we've got very high melting points and very high densities. These are properties of transition elements. So these two are transition metals. So we are only left with option D. In option D, the melting point is relatively low, which is true for sodium. It has good electrical conduction, which is true for sodium, and it has density lower than water. Water has a density of 1 gram per cm cube. Sodium's density is written as 0.97 because sodium floats on water when you add it to water. Therefore, the correct option for this question is option D. Question 25. From their position in the periodic table, what would you expect the elements titanium, vanadium, chromium, and cobalt to have in common? First of all, they're all transition elements. So they would have variable oxidation states, yes. They would form colored compounds, yes. They would have high melting points, yes. All three properties given are those for transition elements. So this makes option A the correct option for this question. Question 26. Which two gases do not damage limestone buildings? Okay, so nitrogen is neutral. It will not damage limestone building because the gases that would damage limestone building would be acidic since limestone is calcium carbonate. So nitrogen is correct. It will not damage limestone buildings. Carbon monoxide is also neutral. It will not damage limestone buildings. Next, we've got nitrogen dioxide, which is acidic in nature, so it will damage limestone buildings. Then we've got carbon monoxide, which is neutral. Next, we have carbon dioxide, which is acidic in nature. It will damage limestone building. And we have carbon dioxide, which is also slightly acidic. It can damage limestone building if dissolved in water. Sulfur dioxide is an acidic gas which would damage limestone building, and carbon dioxide is an acidic gas which may dissolve in water and damage limestone buildings. So the only option with both the gases that do not damage limestone building is option A, making it the correct option for this question. Question 27. The following facts are known about four metals P, Q, R, and S. R displaces both P and S from aqueous solutions of their ions. So R is more reactive than P, R is more reactive than S. Q reacts with water, but R does not react with water. So R does not react with water. Q is more reactive than R. S does not react with acid, but P does react with acid. Therefore, P is more reactive than S because S would be less reactive than hydrogen and P would be more reactive than hydrogen. So out of all of these, Q is the most reactive. Next, we would have R because Q is more reactive than R and R is more reactive than P and S. Next, we would have P because P is more reactive than S and the least reactive metal out of these four would be S. So the order of reactivity would be the most reactive Q, followed by R, followed by P, followed by S. So this makes option B the correct option for this question. Question 28. Which metal has to be extracted from its ore by electrolysis? Metals that are more reactive than iron or really highly reactive metals can be extracted from their ores using electrolysis. So out of the given metals, iron, sodium, lead, and zinc, the most reactive element would be sodium, making option B the correct option for this question. Question 29. Aluminum is produced by the electrolysis of molten aluminum oxide. So we've got the setup shown here. Which statement about the process is correct? Aluminum ions are reduced to aluminum by gaining electrons. Yes. Al3 positive ions gain 3 moles of electrons, producing 1 mole of aluminum metal. So this is correct. Aluminum is oxidized. Aluminum oxide is reduced by cryolite. No, aluminum oxide is dissolved in cryolite in order to decrease its melting point. Aluminum oxide is reduced by the carbon electrodes. Aluminum oxide is electrolyzed using the carbon electrodes, not reduced. Aluminum oxide is reduced by the carbon monoxide formed at the negative electrode. No, aluminum oxide does not react with carbon monoxide, and carbon monoxide is not formed at the negative electrode. Carbon dioxide is formed at the negative electrode. Therefore, the correct option for this question is option A. Question 30. Hydrides are compounds of an element and hydrogen only. Which statement is not correct? The hydride of carbon that contains 4 hydrogen atoms and 1 carbon atom is a gas called methane. Yes. CH4. This is correct. The hydride of chlorine dissolves in water to form an alkaline solution. No. HCl is an acidic hydride of chlorine. The hydride of nitrogen is manufactured in the Haber's process. Yes, this is true. This is ammonia. And the hydride of oxygen is a liquid at room temperature. Yes, this is water. So the only option that is incorrect is the hydride of chlorine dissolves in water to form an alkaline solution, making option B the correct option for this question.